With the landscape of drones getting more and more complex, Teledyne FLIR is hoping to address most of those issues with one single product. Hi there, I'm Drew with Lone Star Drone. And what we're going to be talking about today is the Cirrus. And what we're doing right now is kind of introducing a new series that's going to focus on the Cirrus, its capabilities, and what it is as a product. Teledyne is a pretty renowned defense contractor, and FLIR, if you've dealt with anything thermal related, you know the name. Well, they've introduced something called the Cirrus. It stands for Security Infrared Aerial System. Now, in our series, we're going to take each of those letters and unpack what it is and its capabilities. So it's no secret that the security side of the drone community is getting more and more stringent, with states like Florida and Texas and countless other states across the nation passing laws that are essentially banning anything but American-made drones. So it's getting more difficult for operators to have a solution that addresses both their work needs as well as can fit inside those regulations for security. Cirrus, because it stands for Security Infrared Aerial System, hopes to bring that security back to the landscape of drones. Now, the way drones typically work is you have a drone, you have the ground control station, but then you've got some component that touches the internet for either remote ID purposes or geofencing. The Cirrus, on the other hand, does not connect at all to the network. This has distinct advantages in the fact that it doesn't have geofencing, so you as an operator are never going to be restricted in your capabilities. The onus will be back on you to find out what those geofencing and geolock areas are so that you don't inadvertently fly in an area you're not supposed to. However, if you already have the clearances, you won't have to spend those ridiculous 30 to 45 minutes to an hour waiting for some computer operator somewhere to punch a button so that you can get ready to fly. The Cirrus works basically by compartmentalizing the data. Because there is no connection to the network, all of the data is saved to the SD card on the drone in full resolution and then a slightly downsampled version on the ground control station. The onus, again, is on the operator to remove that SD card, put it into a computer, and download that data accordingly. Florida and Texas are leading the way when it comes to the data security initiative. And basically they're saying that anyone who operates on a police force, fire department, or any other government sector can't fly anything that is, in essence, made in China. Well, the Cirrus, of course, being from Teledyne FLIR, which is a decently well-known American defense company, there is no component on the drone aside from maybe the batteries that are made in China. So it fits in every one of the regulations across the country. Now, is it Blue UAS certified? No, it's not. But does it pass all government regulations? Absolutely. Because it doesn't connect to the network, there's no breach of data anywhere possible. Unless someone was standing there with a really complex system that could decrypt the data going from the drone to the controller, there's no way data's getting anywhere. So with that data security also comes some compromises to convenience. The flight logs and the telemetry from the drone itself, they don't actively transmit. So if you have a department or a system that requires active transmission of those flight logs, well, unfortunately this drone isn't going to meet your needs. However, the flight logs are locally stored on the SD card, so all it takes is downloading them, putting them into a computer, and then sending them off to wherever they need to go. Now let's go back a little bit and talk about some of those government regulations. As of the filming of this video, Texas and Florida are really leading the way when it comes to those government regulations, and the federal government is not far behind. There is law that's being written right now that will essentially ban all drones that are made in China. Now, the choice here is you can be very reactive when it comes to your drone purchases, and a lot of people are choosing to do that, to include a lot of police forces. But if you want to get ahead of the regulations and have something that is incredibly capable in the infrared and aerial system, well, the Cirrus is the drone of choice for that. The key here is you have a whole bunch of choices when it comes to American drones. There are $40,000 drones, $80,000 drones. The sky's the limit when it comes to price. And typically when people hear about the Cirrus and what the Cirrus's MSRP is, they're kind of shocked. Not too many drones that have the capabilities of the thermal and the weatherproofing and all of the benefits of the Cirrus, they don't typically come in under $10,000. And for anyone who doesn't know the price, that's the price. And that's not just the drone itself. That's the drone, the payload, the batteries, and a ground control station. And speaking of those accessories, they don't gouge you in the long run when it comes to those accessories either. The batteries typically are about half of what the competition charges for their batteries. So it comes in as a well-packaged price point for anyone who needs to get into thermal inspections, visual inspections, or needs a drone that can operate in just about any condition. And in terms of conditions this drone can operate, not too many drones are going to beat it on wind resistance or weatherproofing as a whole. And in fact, this has an average IP rating that beats out most of the drones twice its price point. It is weather resistant, not just on the drone itself, but on the payload itself. So you have a drone that can operate in just about any environment. And again, under $10,000 means that you can essentially have two drones, a backup drone and a primary drone, for the price that you would pay for most drones as a package. Now, for those of you who are hoping to contract with government officials or government entities to do drone work, something like the Cirrus is a pretty compelling instrument. We as Lone Star Drone have done many jobs for the federal government as well as state governments. And I will tell you that a conversation that typically starts out as a 15-second conversation in just asking, do we fly Chinese drones? And we are one of very few companies that just say no. Turns into a 3-minute conversation, turns into a 5-minute conversation, and now you have the capability to market you as a service provider to other government entities. So again, this being the Cirrus educational series, this is going to be one of the shorter ones, one of the shorter videos, because, well, frankly, either you're security enabled or you're not. And as far as the Cirrus goes, it's pretty cut and dry. The data stays with the drone, it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't connect to the network, it doesn't connect to the internet. So let's review. It's not geo-locked because it doesn't connect to the network. You don't have to worry about data security because it doesn't connect to the network. You don't have to worry about government regulations because, well, it doesn't connect to the network. So all of these advantages, in my opinion, outweigh the disadvantage of having to manually download those logs. So going forward in our video series, you're going to learn about the infrared capabilities, the visual capabilities, and the aerial system as a whole, because, you know, a little bit of plot spoiler here, this isn't just a drone, this is a platform. And in terms of your investment in the future, you're going to want something that you can upgrade over time. And that's where the Cirrus is going to come in handy. So my name is Drew Smith, this is Lone Star Drone, and this, of course, is the Cirrus. We'll see you next time.